It turns out it was late in the night, and the great Rosh Hashiva of Volozhin, Reb Chaim Volozhner, was thirsty, and he never wanted to make a bracha unless someone was there to answer Amen. Maybe he chose to be chazan a lot, so that there will always be people answering Amen. But it turns out he decided not to drink. He was very thirsty. A person who teaches Torah gets thirsty because their throat is always talking Torah. But he felt, no, I don't want to make a bracha without an Amen. So he just kept learning until late in the night. There was a knock in the door. Maybe it was 1:30 in the morning, maybe 2:30. And it's a yeshiva bacher. Why is he knocking so late? He had a question in the Gemara he wanted to ask his Rebbe. Wow, this boy must have really loved Torah so much that he can't sleep unless he gets an answer to the kasha. So he goes and he asks his Rebbe, please, can I ask you a question in the middle of the night? I guess he knew that his Rebbe wasn't sleeping. Raise your hand if you would knock on your Rebbe's door in the middle of the night to ask him a question on the Torah, because you can't sleep without a good answer. Oh, I see many hands raised. Oh, that's cool. All right. It turns out, I can imagine your Rebbe coming in his pajamas out of his bed, puts on his robe. Yes, Rebbe, can you explain me that Rashi about Avram Avinu and the people of Sodom? Did he really take the people from Sodom and keep them, or did he give them back to the king of Sodom? Oh, thank you, my Talmud, for asking me that question in the middle of the night. Let me see what the Sfarim say, and I'll open it up and see what they say in the Medrash. So that's some people, I like that. I have a friend of mine, his name is Reb Hillel Zucker. When he walks in the street, he's still thinking Torah. He told me he has one question that he's been answering while he walks. He thinks of more answers. He already has 150 answers to that one question that he thought of while he's walking. Wow. It turns out, when the boy came in to ask a question, Reb Chaim said, please answer Amen. Baruch atah Hashem, and he made a bracha on the water, and the boy said Amen, and then they talked in learning, and he said, thank you for coming. It was no inconvenience that you bothered me in the middle of the night to ask me a kasha. Come anytime. Baruch Hashem, so nice to see you and talk to you. Weiter, and he went learning. In the morning, he saw the bacher. So he wanted to express gratitude. And he said to him, thank you very much. I really appreciate that you came and you visited me last night and answered Amen to my bracha. And the boy looked at his Rebbe. Remember you came last night about 2 o'clock and we talked in learning your kasha about such and such thing? Wasn't me. Of course it was you. Don't you remember you asked me this question and I told you that answer and you answered Amen to my bracha? Bacher was like speechless, but Rebbe, was that a dream maybe? I didn't come. I was sleeping. So the Rav realized, you know who came? Eliyahu Hanavi, who can dress himself and disguise himself like anybody, like a miracle, and he made himself look like a yeshiva bacher, just so that Reb Chaim, who was so thirsty, would have somebody to answer Amen to his bracha. And then the Rebbe looked at the bacher. He must be a really chashuv bacher if Eliyahu Hanavi chose to disguise himself like him. Meanwhile, the bacher is like, I'm not so sure what you're talking about. But the Rebbe realized that Hashem wanted him so much to drink and so much to have an Amen that he sent someone there to help. So the next time you want to make a bracha on a food, try to signal to your friend, please answer Amen to my bracha. You're supposed to say 90 amens a day, 100 brachos a day. You're supposed to answer to 10 kaddish a day. That's when you're bar mitzvah at least. And you're supposed to say 4 kedushas a day. Kadosh, kadosh, kadosh. Not everyone's zeichet to do this, but if you do this, they say you're a big tzaddik. But it doesn't just mean to say amen stam. You have to think what you're saying. Who could tell me what amen means? Yes? Okay, yeah?
I forgot. It's either
yes?
one or one. It's true.
So, it's true is a good answer. Amen is true what you said, but it also has a much deeper meaning. Yes?
It should be true.
Okay, so amen really stands for 3 words, and we'll show it to you here. Amen stands for Hashem is Kel, He's God. Melech, He's King. And Neman, He's very fair. He's fair, which means if you're good, He's going. If you do mitzvahs, He'll be very good to you. And if you do averis, He can make things bad happen to you. So Hashem is very fair. So every time you say Amen, you're mechazik yourself in emunah that Hashem is God, the only God. Hashem is King of everything, and Neman, Hashem is fair. And if I serve Him, He'll be good to me. And if I serve my Yetzer Hara and run after Him, Hashem can make bad things happen to me. So Amen is a very powerful thing. And by the bracha, if you have kavanah, you also become much closer to the Eibishter. I'd like to tell you a story which I call the Holy Pencil. Now the truth is, when you write down a Dvar Torah with a pen, it's holy. When you write down with a pencil, a chidush, it's a good idea. Now I don't recommend you writing chidushim with pencil, unless you're a little kid. Because I remember I one time had a lot of questions on the Torah that I went to a big rabbi and I asked him the questions and he gave me the answers and I wrote it down in pencil. And years later, somehow the pencil got erased from the paper. You can't even see anymore what I wrote unless you look very carefully, and it's much better to write with a good pen. But this story called the Holy Pencil is about one of those gigantic pencils they get from SeaWorld or Niagara Falls, and I'm going to tell you how this pencil became very holy.
My great-grandpa wrote the Torah.
So the story goes like this. There was a boy named Brian. Now Brian was not well, and he had to go to the doctor for medical treatments that were very painful.
Why?
Because the boy was not well. He was ill. He had some type of disease. It turns out the doctor at that time, we'll call him Dr. Isaac Dweck, was very devoted to the hospital. And sometimes he was not even home on Shabbat. You know, some men, they're so busy working, they don't get to see their kids all week, but come Shabbat, they get to see their family. This doctor was so devoted, there were times, even on Yom Tov, he would be at the hospital. No, because he was saving lives.
No, but he's not keeping Shabbat.
You're allowed to be Mechalel Shabbat to save someone's life. Like Hatzalah does. And it turns, please, if you don't mind standing by the door. Okay? Thank you. And it turns out, the doctor, Isaac Dweck, would often miss even family events because he was so devoted to medicine and to curing people who were sick. Bikar Cholim was his favorite mitzvah, not only visiting the sick, but curing them with his special medications. And very often, Dr. Dweck's son would complain to him. I moved you because you were making noise, and now you're making noise over there with your feet. and go back to your seat, but learn some courtesy and sensitivity for others. And when they're talking, we try to be quiet. When you're talking in Mitzvah Shem one day, I'm sure you'll appreciate if people are quiet, not making noise. And it turns out, Dr. Dweck's son would often say, Daddy, you missed our soccer game. Or Daddy, you missed our Chumash party. Or Daddy, you didn't come to Avotu Banim when everyone came with their fathers to learn. Daddy, how come you didn't come to my birthday party? And each time the father had to give the same excuse. I'm sorry, son, I would have loved to be there, but, I'm a good doctor, and a good doctor is often a busy doctor. And I'm so busy with patients that I don't even get to spend some time with my wife and kids like I wish I could.
Why is it called a pencil?
The father went to the hospital one day, and as he was about to treat Brian had a cold.
Who's Brian?
He was the boy that was sick. And since he had a cold, his nose was running, the doctor did not want to give him anesthesia, because anesthesia is a type of painkiller, and because he was with a cold, the nurse decided that it wouldn't be a good idea to give the child the anesthesia. So he asked the doctor, what should we do? I'm scared when a person gets anesthesia, which is a type of pain-killing medication, it's very good if they could breathe well. But if they have a cold and they're not breathing so well, so that could be dangerous, because then they might not get up from the medication, because the medication puts the person to sleep. And at that time, the doctor said, okay, I'm not going to give you the regular anesthesia, but he had told him he has to have the treatment. So he said to Brian, whenever it hurts, the medication that I'm giving him, I want you to squeeze me tight. Basically, the boy had in his body some cells are the little parts of the body that had to be destroyed, because those cells had disease. And the doctor had to literally kill those cells with some type of radiation that would burn the cell without hurting the boy, just that spot. So we told the boy, since I can't give you the anesthesia, if it hurts, at least give me a squeeze, and I'll know it hurts, and I'll try to not hurt you more than I have to. And throughout the entire procedure, which was 5 minutes long, whenever it hurt, the boy would squeeze the doctor, and the doctor felt bad, but he had to do, sometimes the medication doesn't taste good, and sometimes a person goes to the dentist and it hurts, and sometimes a person is in pain. To thank Hashem every day, what does it mean not to know of pain? And every day daven to Hashem to be gesund and well, and to send refuah shalema to the many cholim. It turns out the doctor was done with the procedure, and after 5 minutes, the boy gave the doctor a present. He said, Doctor, that was so nice of you that you let me squeeze you when it hurt. Can I give you something? And he pulled out of his knapsack a big pencil, the kind you get from the carnivals and the amusement parks, those big souvenir pencils. And I think I said on it, I love Florida or something like that. And the boy turned to the doctor and he said, Doctor, I want to give you something because you were so good to me today. I want to give you a present. And he gave the doctor the pencil. And the doctor said, Thank you, Brian. This is a very special gift indeed. And when the doctor got home, his son said, Dr. Dweck, Daddy, where were you today? We were having a baseball game and I hit the home run. You didn't even come to see your son hit the home run? So the father turns to his son and he says, Son, I was busy helping a child that he should be able to live. I don't know if he'll ever be able to hit a home run. So that's why I wasn't home. And son, look what he gave me. He gave me a big pencil. And I'm going to give you that present, my son. And the boy looked at the pencil, And he wondered where should he keep such a pencil